All right, so let's begin. I'm gonna introduce Pandion. Pandion Music Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit that equips emerging music creators around the world with tools to help foster more equitable, attainable, sustainable careers. Based in Los Angeles, PMF amplifies diverse voices to grow a more inclusive music industry by providing free weekly online workshops and wellness initiatives that connect independent musicians with leading professionals. And we've added helping teenagers, 15 through 18. And we did a band camp this last summer, and we're going to continue this kind of initiative to help teenagers. So this is exciting and lots of changes in the air, of course. And we're getting into autumn. And today we have, let's see, we got Glory, and I'm just going to read about you, Glory. After a long career in music education, Glory studied music business at Berklee College of Music. She then started a company, Mallett's Bay Music, to help promote independent singer-songwriters. In 2016, she took over Song and Film, which continues to be a one-stop song licensing agency with a diverse catalog of music by independent singer-songwriters, bands, and composers from around the United States and beyond, as well as the representative agent for a few small publishing companies and record labels with artists rosters. Artists are carefully selected, ensuring that my clients only receive the best music for their projects while working within clients' budget restraints. Song and film clients include Amazon, Netflix, Disney Plus, AMC, Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, WB, CW, Univision, sorry, and Hallmark, to name a few. And I know that doesn't quite describe everything about you, Glory, because you're such a gem in our music world and you have such heart. And I've heard some of your stories before. Tell us more about you.
Well, some of you, I see some familiar faces and names. Hi, Mary. um, some of you might know me as Glory Reinstein, but because of a divorce, I've taken my maiden name back, but it hasn't been changed everywhere yet. Um, anyway, yeah, as Rebecca said, I was in music education for many years at the high school level. And I think I got involved in this other side of the music world because of my singer-songwriter son, watching him grow and what was involved in his singer-songwriter career. I helped him a little bit with various things and then learning along the way and then started helping other Vermont artists where I'm originally from. And then when I retired from teaching, I had some Vermont artists' music in the Song and Film catalog, and I reached out to the founder of Song and Film, founder and yeah, owner of at the time, saying to him, "I've got some new music. I've got some new artists. Are you interested?" And he said, "Well, as a matter of fact, I would like to do other things now. Would you be interested in taking over?" Because he didn't want it to die. So I thought about it and said, "Okay, I'll try this." And besides the Berkeley courses that I took and many sessions I took, like Mark's Sync Summit, I've been to some of those in LA and New York, and then the previous owner also worked with me hand in hand for at least 6 months, and then he said, "Okay, you got this." So that's the backstory. I did spend time in San Diego between 2016 and 2020. And then my daughter lured me to Maryland. I now have a 4-year-old grandson and a 2-month-old granddaughter. So I'm outside of the DC, Baltimore area.
Yes. And I love that story about how, that your son inspired you. And I know you've helped so many people, but you also, I love how when you are listening to a song or, you're with a group, I know you're great with 2Indie when they do their Get Wrapped. And you always kind of mention at that moment, like, if you like the song, I'll take that song. And I love that about you. Right there when you're so that's great. So you want to tell us like what, a little bit about your agency or a lot about your agency and look what you're looking for when you're feeling like that's the right song or that clicks or and you have a nice way of giving feedback as well. So tell us more.
Well, I guess when I'm listening to new music, I'm thinking about various things. Like it could be the emotion that I have when I'm hearing it. Like, does it make me want to get up and dance around the room? Does it make me want to cry? In fact, I did once. The lyrics and the melody, everything. I don't even remember which song it was. It probably was one of those 2 indie sessions, and I got teary eyed. Maybe it's because my mom is on death's doorstep at the moment, but I can't remember now. So it's a little bit of how does it make me feel, but it's also about, is this something I could place somewhere? And sometimes a show or two will come up and I'll jot down, oh, I should send this to so and so. Or yeah, if it's well produced, the voice, being a music educator in the vocal choral world, the voice, I probably pay more attention to that than other sync agencies. Not that it has to be this beautiful voice. Sometimes there are unique voices that are like, do I like that or not? If it's unique and stands out. Um, but if the singer is pitchy, I've even had to have that conversation with a songwriter a few years ago who sent me a song and I really liked it, but I didn't like her voice on it. Not that it was pitchy, it just didn't feel right. And so I had a hard talk with her and said, "You, if you want me to pitch this, you've got to have someone else record it." And so she did, and she had a female version and a couple of different male versions. Um, So, yeah, that's one thing I would say. If you're a great songwriter, but you don't have the voice, hire somebody. Or, I mean, there's so many people in your world, like people in the 2 indie world and this world, that you could rely on. So submissions, I just get bombarded. I can't keep up, and I do have an intern now who sifts through some of them for me. Um, it's any email too, just too hard to keep up. So I always say when I'm at these sessions, if you send something to me, put 2indie or Pandion in the subject line, because I might not look at it for months and months because it's so hard to keep up with email and with submissions. Um, So yeah, I think I'm like most sync agencies out there. I mean, there are smaller ones, there are bigger ones, but we do have a fairly decent catalog that we house in Disco. I say we because besides the intern, I have a buddy who is in New Jersey. Some of you might know him, Aussie Brown, who helps out a lot too. I call him the A&R guy, but he does other things too. Um, and we're just answering the briefs as they come in, but in between, I try to reach out. If I have a song that I think might fit a particular show, I'll reach out to that music supervisor and say, "Oh, I just got this. What do you think? Hope you can use it or whatever." Um, yeah, I guess that's it.
Um,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I do want to mention the four books that I recommend to artists and songwriters. Um, the first one was written by a music supervisor that I feel is one of the very top music supervisors out there. It's called Thinking in Sync, a primer on the mind of a music supervisor by Amanda Krieg Thomas. And you can get it on Amazon. You can get any of these books on Amazon. But it really tells you what the expectations are for music supervisors. It helps sync agencies. It helps, sorry, I'm a little phlegmy.
All right.
It helps artists or songwriters who are trying to do this on their own. So it's a short read. It's in paperback. So I would put that as the number one book I would recommend. Um, Talks about metadata a lot too, which I can talk about later as well if you want me to. The second book is How to Make It in the New Music Business: Practical Tips on Building a Loyal Following and Making a Living as a Musician. And that's by Ari Herstand, Ari, Herstand, Herstand. A lot of great tips. Ari is a musician himself, songwriter, but I don't know if he's performing anymore with his band because his he's taking off as oh gosh, many books, podcaster. He runs educational sessions. So I would get on his email list. You can start by emailing him at info@aristake.com. Aristake, Aristake, info@aristake.com. So he's a great resource. Um, his podcast, he often interviews up and coming indie artists who have, shot up quickly and how all that happened. Or he'll bring in other music industry people. Um, if you want some heavier reading, I would suggest a book called Making Music Make Money: An Insider's Guide to Becoming Your Own Music Publisher by Eric, Eric Beall, Beall. That's one of the books we had to read when I took one of the Berkeley classes. So it's a deep dive into the world of publishing, the exploitation of your music, which is a good word in the music world, not a bad word. The basics of your business, pitching your music yourself versus finding a sync agent, and a lot more. Lastly, uh, fourth book is All You Need to Know About the Music Business by Entertainment LA attorney Donald Passman, Passman. And let's see, he's in his 11th edition of that book. I have the 6th edition. And because I'm sure the industry is changing all of the time, and some of the topics are choosing your team, manager, attorney, booking agent, if you're offered a record deal, what's involved in that, copyright, publishing, and so on. So it's another book to consider.
Those are great resources. Thank you for sharing them. And I nicely put them in the chat so if
Oh,
made it
thank
easy
you.
for
Mhm.
everybody.
And they're all on Amazon. I checked.
Oh, Amazon is so clever, aren't they? They make it so easy to just click and then get something in the mail.
Right, right.
Um, a little dangerous for me.
For all of us.
I know. So, Glory, yes. So I think there was a question for you, and I mean, I know the answer to this, but I'll let you answer. Do you have an in-house mixer that might be able to fine tune any mix? Which is a great question, but yeah.
No,
Right.
no. I mean, we have sometimes said, especially in those two indie sessions, that uh, and especially if Oz is with me, because he's the producer. He has a studio, and so if anyone ever wanted some tweaking, I would recommend him. He's been around quite a while, and so yeah, we'll say, well, we like the song, but if you could do this little thing and that little thing, then we'll take it. So no, I don't here, but he does have a studio in New Jersey.
Yeah. And also too, I think it's a great, it's a great practice to learn how to edit your own music or your I mean or with your producer if you're not doing it yourself.
Mhm.
Um so then it's a learning experience too to get to what, what is going to be accepted. So that's
Right.
a great
I
lesson.
right. I should mention that when we do sign someone, the expectation is that they do send um, wave files of those songs and or AIFF files, and we're going to need all of the metadata, and I can go over that in a second. We're going to need the instrumental track without the vocal. And I don't typically ask for stems, but I might say hopefully they're on hand just in case, especially if it's in advertising. They like to, cut and paste and all that. Then you're going to need stems, like just the vocal with no instrumentation, or just the bass line or the drums or whatever. Um, so typically, though, we're signing songs for typically vocal. I mean, once in a while I get instrumental briefs, but we like to have the instrumental with the vocal just in case. And yeah, just mostly vocal is what we deal with.
Right. And it seems like that even if the editor or the director or producer wants to use the instrumental, it seems like the vocals will sell the whole song. It it kind of opens the door, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's great. So, I have a few questions that we have prepared if you want.
Hmm.
Um, what would you say is one of the most surprising things you've learned from them that you've learned? Wait, okay, yes. This is what would you say is one of the most surprising things you've learned about the music licensing process?
Surprising. Oh, hmm. I don't know if anything has been surprising. Uh, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would be surprising. I mean, um,
It's probably like so it's there's some consistency then in
yeah, well, I guess, oh, okay, I just did think of something, if you want to call it surprising, and that is when I was first starting out, I thought that they would always send the license and you fill it out, sign it, blah, blah, blah. But there are times when I've had to create the license. And so the first time I did that, I was scared. And so I had to look at some that had come to me and kind of follow, the verbiage, so to speak, to create that. And I guess along that line, some some licenses are short and sweet and others are pretty lengthy.
Right.
So I guess it kind of depends. And one other thing, you think that you're going to just work with the music supervisor, but sometimes they'll say, be on the lookout for, and they'll give you a name that's part of the production staff that sends you the license to fill out.
Right. And so that goes into the metadata and the when we are submitting songs for, for licensing, metadata is very important, right? And
Yes.
would you like to describe on your end how you like to see it?
Yeah, sure. I photocopied one of my son's metadata that I filled out.
That's
We use Disco. So in Disco, and the more important parts of that are, of course, the title, the artist's name, the composer's name. Now, here's something that I run into sometimes is that an artist might put their artist name as the composer name as well. No, you got to have the name that they I would see if I went to BMI or ASCAP or whatever, um, and the IPI writer number. So I need the composer name as it is at your PRO, ASCAP, BMI, whatever, along with the PRO, BMI, my son, BMI, and the IPI number. Oh, and then in parentheses, what is your percentage of ownership? Well, for him, 100%. He's the artist, he's the writer, he's the publisher, he's the master owner. Um, and then the album name. Now, if it's not released, you can leave it blank or you can put unreleased. If it's a single that's been released, I would put single under album. Grouping would be who's pitching this song. Well, it's song and film, and we are one stop. And if an artist, I mean, a songwriter has co-writers, then we say, we need that information, but you need a deal with your co-writer. You don't have to send your deal to us. Some artists do. That's fine. We keep it, but at least have something in place between you and your co-writers in case there's an issue down the road. And also the percentages between the co-writers. Same with publishing. Let me go down a little further on the list. Genre, we need those, or we stick them in. The year it was released. We don't have to have the actual release date. They have year and then release date if you're looking at Disco. Just, what year did it come out? And then BPM, beats per minute, that's good to have. And if it's not there, I get my app out on my phone and figure out the beats per minute. And then under comments, I put contact licensing at songandfilm.com with my phone number. And then I put the publishing company, or if an artist is not affiliated as a publisher and only as a writer, then I'm going to put self-published. And then, BMI, IPI number for your publishing name, and then master owner, which typically is the artist or the writer, but not necessarily, and the percentages. So that's very helpful. But I also go to ASCAP or BMI or whatever to make sure that what the artist or writer has given me is there, because I have run into some situations where someone got married and changed their name and didn't tell me after the fact, or what else? Oh, they switch from ASCAP to BMI or vice versa, things like that. And I always, before I fill out the license, I do email them and say, this is the info that I have. Is this correct? That
Right.
way, if it's not, I can say, but you told me, here's the proof. And also in the comment box, it's nice to have some of the instrumentation there, maybe your influences or who you sound like, or uh, descriptors, mood, melancholy, emotive, freedom, gradual build that starts at blah, blah, blah. Or maybe where the hook is. Hook is, so I sometimes even put that in the title. Hook at 1.01 or, whatever. Just for the sake of the music supervisor. Um, and I'm also now putting in, because it's being requested in briefs, if an artist and or writer are part of the LGBTQ plus community or the BIPOC community, Black, Indigenous, people of color. Because sometimes the characters in a show or a film are part of a specific community. And so the music supervisor and, more importantly, the production team want to find artists, sorry, songwriters that reflect that.
Right. That's an important part. Yeah, that's great information about metadata. And it's just helpful anyway when you're releasing your music to be ready because you might want to, you know, write about your music and or have somebody help you write about it. And all of that information is always really good to have
I
regardless.
should I should also mention that I know some people maybe look at this differently, but uh, I had a brief come in a while back, and they were working on a brand new show, so they needed a lot of music because they were going to do all the episodes. And she was very firm about, I use iTunes, and sometimes things don't carry over. And so I experimented with that. I sent a tune over to my personal email and put it in iTunes. And yes, that's right. Uh, you can see more about the composer in iTunes than you can in Disco. You have to, go through the long line. Um, and iTunes only picked up about 3, maybe 4 lines from my comment box. So
Mhm.
then I thought, okay, I have to have less spaces and just cram all the important stuff in 3 to 4 lines,
Right.
because music supervisors do things differently or hold their music in different places. So that's I learned that. And
Keep
I
it
wanted to make a good impression. I wanted to get a song in this show, and I did. I got one song
moving.
in.
So that's in the comments part and just put the most important things right on top, correct?
Yeah, right away, like the contact number one, and then the publishing, the master, and then just a few descriptors or whatever.
That's for disco in the comments, just in case we didn't
Yeah,
we
I
weren't
mean, you can have it in Disco, but know that if it's transferred to iTunes on the other end, they're only going to see 3 or 4 lines.
right. And it picks up from the comments. And there's a certain amount of character lines, I think, or character counts. So whoever has that, you can put that in the chat. I know I have it somewhere tucked away in my files, but I don't have it right in front of me. Oh yeah, 255. Okay. Thank you, Jen. Um, yes, perfect. And so, um, Can you share a key lesson or piece of advice you've picked up from music supervisors that would be especially helpful for independent artists looking to get their music placed in TV, film, or ads?
Uh, well, like I said, if you read Amanda Thomas's book, it's all there. But the main thing is good production. The vocal is in tune. Let's see. Yeah, metadata, um, embedded, all the things they need to know. Um,
Cool.
Percentages, especially if they're co-writers, co-producers, or
Yeah.
co-master owners. And the thing that they say, I have heard more than once from music supervisors, is that don't get discouraged because they might like some of the things that you or I send in, but it just has to fit the image. It has to enhance the storyline. So don't give up.
Right.
Don't think that, oh, I suck. um, I'll one example is um, well, my son. I placed a song in a Netflix show. I think it was in 2018, maybe. The song was from one of his earliest albums in 2005.
Yeah.
So some music supervisors don't care what year it was released. It's, what fit. Um, Others will be specific in the brief about we want unreleased songs or songs that have been released just in the last couple of years. They want new stuff. Others doesn't matter. Just they need a song that fits. And sometimes it's era based, like the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, specific decades. Um, or maybe they need, well, Stranger Things. That's the 80s. I think they typically use authentic 80s, but on occasion, songs that sound like they could have been released in the 80s. So, anyway, oh, here's something else I've heard too. Some songwriters write specifically just for sync. That's their thing. But once again, more than once, I hear music supervisors say, write from the heart. It if you get a license, it's like winning the lottery. And it is really kind of. Um, you just never know. I've had songs that I think that were in the catalog when I took over, and I thought, where am I going to place that? Well, I did. Or I'll have songs that I think this needs to be placed. This is such a good song. Somebody needs to pick this up, and I just can't place it, even though I think it should be placed somewhere.
Right. And you never know that day could come, right?
Right, right. Yeah, you just never know. It's such an inconsistent industry that you just don't know.
Yeah, so we've been talking with, you know, around with the community, and I think that another way to be helpful, and this isn't necessarily about licensing at all, but as a music creator, as an artist, you know, what Gloria said is key is like writing writing because you love writing, making music because you love making music. This is what you want to do, and we're here to support you in any way you want. Um, I think that it's a competitive industry, the music licensing industry. So if you're a music lover and a music creator, I think keep doing what you're doing as best as you can and don't give up. And that would be where your heart leads you into making this music. And that's what's going to show. And we're going to be able to hear it when you, you know, get it radio ready. And that's the exciting part of your own specific personality in that song. Yeah. And so, from your perspective, how do music supervisors prefer to be approached by artists or songwriters? And what are some of the common mistakes they see in those initial pitches?
Well, this probably goes for music supervisors as well as sync agents. Um, when
That's
I get an email that has all the BCC's strings of names, I don't even, delete. I think that they and music supervisors and sync agencies want to know that you've done your homework. This is also from music supervisors. You've done your homework. You know what they're working on. You go to IMDb. What are they working on? Or let's see, where else can you find that out? Well, you can go to TuneFind if you have a specific show you think your song would work on. You see what has been placed in that show. So tunefind.com is helpful, and IMDb, what's in post-production, what's in production. Um, if there's a specific music supervisor you're trying to get hold of, plug in their name at IMDb, and if you scroll down a little bit, you can find what they have worked on and what they're presently working on, and it will say it's finished, or I guess they say completed, or post production, whatever. Um, so let's see. I think if you email them, short and sweet, not a long biography, just introducing yourself and what type of music and why you think it might work. Let's, yeah, I guess that's it.
That's great. That's great. I love that. There's a couple of questions in the chat. Is there an average of what syncs pay right now? That's from Athena. I think I
Oh
said your.
gosh. Well, I first of all, it depends on a couple of things. What level are you at? You're not going to get the same amount of money as Billie Eilish. Um, it depends on what it's for. It depends on what the usage is. Is it just a few seconds? Is it 2 minutes? I would say, and I'm kind of guessing here. I would say that, a more indie film or a TV show could be anywhere from $500 to $10,000. It also depends on the show. Like, you know, certain shows have had a long life, and so they probably have more ad revenue, so they're going to have a better music budget than a brand new show, unless somebody with money is backing that show. Um, like I'll watch a show and I'll hear the music and I'll say, okay, they got a really good music budget based on the music they have licensed for the show, the artists. Um, I would say films are anywhere from 5 to 20,000, but once again, it's probably more than that for big name artists. I'm sure it is. Advertising, I would say 10,000 to 200,000, maybe more for Led Zeppelin.
Right, of course. Led Zeppelin.
But it's kind of all over the place in my experience.
Right. It's yeah. That's what I've heard too. It's just could be it could be an independent film with almost no money, and you could
Right,
be
right,
just to have your name, have people listen and
right.
Spotify.
You might make a little bit on the back end, once it airs and you start collecting from your PRO. But um, yeah, I mean, I do license some songs to uh, Canadian filmmakers that have little to no budget. And so I always talk to the artist or songwriter first, say, okay, you all right with this? I'll take less percentage because it's not very much money. And most of the time they'll say, sure.
Oh, yeah, right. I think that's a good way to look at it because you're getting exposure, and that's a chance. There's another way to have an opportunity there.
Mhm.
So there's another question by Tara. How long generally to keep a song in a catalog?
Oh, well, my agreement now says, because I found it too hard to just do update every year because everybody's signing at a different time. It's too hard to keep up. So what I have put in my agreement is on a rolling basis, like we'll sign you, you can terminate, and we can terminate anytime for any reason, no questions asked, unless something is in play. Like, let's say I have already signed a license for a song. We're not going to take that song out. We can take the rest of your songs out, but we're going to keep this song until it airs. And then, I mean, you can still pitch it, but we need to collect on this license we just signed, or even a quote request, because 9 times out of 10, the quote request does end up becoming a license. So, yeah, it makes life easier. And then if the person pulls out, terminates, then we just take all their music out of the catalog and say, good luck, it's fine.
Somebody asked earlier in the chat, please tell us about your work in the ad world.
Well, unfortunately, I have never placed it in an ad. I've come close, a runner up, but it didn't happen. It's mostly TV and some film, mostly TV.
Yeah, TV is great because, you got lots of people that have access to that, and they're gonna check you, listen to your music, and you never know. That could blow your song up too. In a
Right.
good. If anybody has any questions, you could raise your hand, and ask yourself if you feel like it. There's another one from Elliot. Does Song and Film send out monthly briefs lists when they're on the roster?
To artists and songwriters? Is that what
Yes.
they mean? No. No, I mean, I shouldn't say no. Uh, it depends. Like, I want to try to find it in our own catalog.
Right.
And then I might, if I can't, I might reach out to people for a specific thing, or if I have a songwriter in the catalog that is kind of what I'm looking for, I might reach out to them. Yes. So I guess I shouldn't say no, because on occasion that does happen. But I don't send out, a bulk email looking for. I don't do that.
Right. Um, so every agency is different, and this is how Glory works. So this is great, great information. Do you recommend a limited licensing period, and how long, if yes, you do recommend?
Wait, I don't understand.
I don't know.
Limited
This
license?
is this Athena? Do you want to ask yourself, Athena? You can unmute. Um, I don't know where you are. If you could find her.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
good. Well,
there you
thank you for having me on. I appreciate you doing this and being invited. I've taken more sync classes. It's embarrassing for so many years. And now AI is staring at all of us. I kind of have a two-part question really on that. I'm wondering if, you yourself are looking at AI glory, you know, with your placements. But let's see, I can't remember what question. I put so many questions in there, it's embarrassing. They like me to leave because I asked so much.
Do you recommend something about a limited licensing period and how long? I didn't understand it either, so I just
Yeah, well, um, yeah, maybe that is a strange question because, like Glory was saying, you know, especially if they decide they're gonna, you know, put in a song that's cheaper, AI or something, you know, that your back end is over. You know, you're not going to get any more famous out of it. But at the same time, you don't want something. You don't want to be signing your song away forever and ever. You know, I want my songs back at some point. But I wondered what the average length is for a song to be used for any production kind of thing.
Well, my agreement, I think I'm getting mixed up with, do you mean license or between you and, let's say, me? Or
No,
agree?
no, the placement of the production, you know, say I
Well,
got something in Grey's Anatomy, you know, what do they say we're going to use this song for a period of time or?
I believe that you are still free to continue to pitch that song unless they don't want it pitched until the show that your song is in airs.
Right.
But I mean, film companies, I think, are a little different, that they may not want you to be pitching it elsewhere for a longer period of time. But TV, I don't think so. I think you're free to continue to pitch. For example, I pitched a song by an artist. Um, I mean, I licensed a song for an artist for a, a TV show, and because it was in another catalog, it got placed somewhere else. But it was after the fact. It had already aired in the show I got the song in, and then she whoever had it licensed it elsewhere. So I don't think that's an issue. Does
cool.
that make sense? Once it airs, it
Well, I think it's called oh God, what's the word? Impertuity. In other words, you're not going to sign
oh
your
no,
song away
no, no, no.
forever.
I think what that means is
What's that word?
that's like it's on Netflix, maybe forever and ever.
Yeah.
And so it's going to keep being used because it's in that particular episode of that particular show. I think that's what you mean in
Yeah.
perpetuity.
Well, I was kind of warned in one of the classes, you don't want to sign your song away forever, you know, but of course, if it's, you know, some really famous movie, you know, that probably wouldn't be a bad thing, but you still want
Well,
to hold on to.
that might mean when you're signing with a publisher or a sync agency that who might be getting a piece of your back end.
Well,
Mary's shaking her head. Am I right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's what that means.
I think you've been answered correct, Athena.
oh, too many questions, I know.
So, anybody else wants to raise their hand and directly ask Glory? So, I'll take this opportunity to talk about Two Indie. They are a partner that we work with, partnership. It's John and Sonnet, and they do something called Get Repped, and I think it's very handy. You get to meet people like Glory and a bunch of other agencies that listen to your song. So I don't know if they do this, I think they do this once a year. And if you want to join their website, and I will put it in the chat, I mean, join their group. We'll put the website in the chat. Um, Also, they're just so they're good coaches and they're so much fun. So anyway, just want to give them a little plug. We have Bruce. He has a question. I'm gonna ask to unmute. Go ahead, Bruce, if you want to unmute.
There we go. Can you hear me okay? My question is, are
Yes.
you interested in songs only, or are you interested as well in instrumentals, instrumental cues?
Like I said, we don't get
Okay.
much ask for that, although
Yeah.
I would be interested in trailer music.
Okay.
So if you are a trailer composer, make sure you listen to lots of trailers to see what the so-called formula is. Um, and we want to get more into that as well as gaming down the road. We haven't done a lot with that either.
All right. Thank you.
Sure. I was going to go back to 2Indie. They do the big 2 or 3 day thing
Right.
once a year, but they also have lots of little sessions every once in a while where there might be just one panelist or maybe just a couple,
That's true. That's true. They
and
do.
where we listen and give feedback. Yeah.
I think it's like the song of the agency of the month. I think they do that.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
And they do it that way as well. So it's just a good resource. We have one, I know your name. I'm going to ask to unmute. It just says iPhone. Go ahead.
Hi,
Hi,
it's Charles White. How are you doing?
good to meet you.
Good.
Glory, I met you at the Get Repped and just so enjoy your spirit and appreciate you having a few songs of mine. Um, I wanted to ask you uh, briefs that you've had in the recent past that you didn't have what you wanted to submit to that brief. Any holes that have occurred over the last year or so?
What was the last part?
Any holes in your catalog that you'd
Oh,
like to get filled, to briefs that
okay.
you've missed out?
Well, I was going to say before we leave today that first of all, if you have anybody have what you feel is a great song that might be placed somewhere, um, you can send it to me. Just make sure you put in the subject Pandion, and then I'll know. Okay, they're reaching out from this session. And a link to where I can stream or download. If you use Disco, you can do it that way because our catalog is on Disco, or Dropbox, or Box.com, or I mean, if you don't have really anything else, you can send a couple of songs through WeTransfer, which I think is free. But a stream or a link that I can stream or download would be great. And just about anything, because the briefs are all over the place all of the time. It's people say, well, what are you looking for right now? Well, it changes all the time. So anything, but I'll just throw out a few things. Well, Christmas holiday coming up, so that would be nice. Some briefs are looking for songs that actually talk about Christmas, and some are more like holiday. They don't want the word Christmas in it. They don't want God or Jesus in it. Let's see. One phrase that I see a lot in our briefs is songs that build. Songs that have a slow build, and then maybe it comes back right at the very end.
Mhm.
Um,
I
full
know.
of emotion or tension or whatever. The quiet, ethereal, atmospheric, cinematic singer-songwriter is good. Or fun, upbeat songs, electro pop songs. Songs in other sung in other languages. I got a brief for looking for Hindi, or I forget the other word, language. And I have an artist, but he had always sung in English. So I went on Spotify, and lo and behold, he had songs up in his native language. So I reached out and I said, I want those songs. And so he sent them to me, and I sent 3 or 4 of them in. And one is, it looks like it will be placed, but it's not a done deal yet.
Hopefully
Sweet.
that'll happen.
So yeah, songs in other languages is helpful. Yeah, but you know, we have a little bit of almost everything. Hip
Mhm.
hop, rap, whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's a great long answer. Thank you.
I should give my email if you do want to reach out.
Oh, we have your did we put your email in the chat? And
Is it the Glory TV Film
Yes.
Gmail? Yeah, that's the one I will use for that. Yeah.
We have one more question. Taylor, I'm going to ask to unmute. Hi, Taylor. Taylor's a good friend of mine.
Hi. Nice to see you, Rebecca. Thanks, Glory. My question is just if you have, like, what piece of kind of next step advice would you give to, like, I'm a singer-songwriter who has a lot of experience performing and a few albums and singles out on Spotify and iTunes, and now I'm just learning about sync, and I feel like I have a lot of music that could be, but I'm just learning all these things like the disco, how to organize it, making sure the metadata. And I would love to have a sync agent and to be submitting, but it's just a lot of like organizational info at once. And I'm like taking notes. So as like a next step, and I've also heard that sometimes these sync agents or supervisors don't want to receive an email with like a Spotify
Oh,
link. That's
yeah.
like really bad. But I'm just wondering, like, as the next step, what would be the next
Well,
thing for me
I
to
would,
do just to like get everything on disco?
yeah, if that's what you want to use. And what I guess what I would do is, you know, we have a link, I don't know what it is, Oz does, where you can actually send a short playlist from your disco to our disco, or you can just send it to the email with a link and just maybe put songs for glory or something like that, or songs for song and film, and just have like 3 of what you would call your strongest, best songs. And then we can go from there.
Okay.
Now, by the way, when you do put your metadata in, I often have to go in and redo a few things, tweak it a little bit before I send it on to whoever I'm sending it to. Because a lot of artists will put their own name and info in the comment box or the box that says grouping. I need to change that. Grouping will be song and film, one stop. Whereas, and then comments, I'm going to put contact and put the email and my phone number there along with the other stuff.
Yay.
Okay, thank you.
That's all we have time for. Sorry, Peter, but we're going to do Ask Me Anything with,
Oh, is that Peter B?
yeah. Did you want me
Oh,
to
he can email me. He's from Vermont.
Okay, good. Yay, Peter. Good, Peter. All right, so next week we have music supervisor meet and greet with Yvette Matoyer. And that's at 3 p.m. on September the 25th. So definitely tune into that. Jordan Stobie will be facilitating that, and I just put it in the chat. And Glory, we loved having you with us today, and you gave everyone so many beautiful gems to take with them. And, you know, people that have been doing this and showing up for, you know, for quite a while in these music circles, or people coming in new, this is for everybody. So thank you again. And thank you everyone for showing up and joining in on the chat and helping each other up. And I think there were some people connecting, you know, I'm looking to collaborate. So that's great. That's what we're about is being here for our community. And thank you, Glory, again.
You're
Have a
welcome.
beautiful day
Nice to see
Thank you
everybody.
so much. Bye, everyone.
to your mother.
Oh,
Sending
thank you.
healing
Thank you.